What's going on, everyone? If you clicked on this video, chances are you're probably wondering what kind of fertilizer you should be putting down in your lawn. Let's talk about it. So as you can see behind me, there are a lot of options when it comes to fertilizers. You have your granular products, you have your liquid products, you have the products that you can mix with water and also spray those. Which fertilizer product is the best for you? Now I'm going to break this down into 4 categories for you to help make it simpler to understand. We're going to be talking about temperature. We're going to be talking about your preferences, your application preferences specifically. We're going to talk about soil test, and then finally we're going to talk about overall convenience. But before we get into that, I want to basically show you that every single one of these products has an analysis on it, which basically tells you how much nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are in each one of these products. Those numbers are important. Those are the macronutrients, the critical nutrients that the grass plant needs to survive. To keep it simple for you, nitrogen promotes the growth, phosphorus helps with root development, and potassium really helps with overall plant health. So for example, we have here the Scott's Turf Builder. This is basically their starter fertilizer that is built for seeding. This contains that active ingredient mesotrione, which is great for cool season turf grasses at establishing a new lawn while preventing the weeds from growing. This bag right here has a 21-22 4 ratio. That's 21% nitrogen, 22% phosphorus, and 4% potassium. This kind of analysis is what makes up a starter fertilizer: a high nitrogen content, a high phosphorus content, and some potassium in there to give you everything you need to promote growth, promote that root development, which is critical with new seed, and overall plant health. Just real quick, if you could do me a favor and smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Maybe consider subscribing. We teach everything about lawn care. And I also invite everyone to leave a comment down below. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Feel free to drop a comment and I will answer them as soon as I can. When it comes to temperatures, we're mostly concerned about heat and the high heat of summer. That's for cool season turf. For warm season turf, it's the opposite, right? The cool temperatures are what stress out warm season turf. So when we're looking at temperatures, you're looking at basically the nitrogen content on the bag. If you're using a higher percentage of nitrogen, you want to probably use less amount of that when it's time to do, let's say, summer feeding. You don't want to push too much growth when the stressors are present, like high heat, or in the case of warm season, cooler temperatures, to push that growth when it's going to be stressed out like that. So you want to look for maybe a lower nitrogen content or slower release type of nitrogen. And what do I mean by that? The total nitrogen on this bag right here is 10%. About 6% of it is the water-soluble nitrogen, but you've got about 4% which is insoluble. This is your slow-release product. Over here on this bag, we've got about 5% of water insoluble nitrogen, right? Here we have a good mix. You got 15% urea and 5% of that type. So we've got basically 20% of a faster release product and only 5% of the slow release stuff. So you're probably going to get a quicker green up with something like this. You're going to really be pushing growth early on with a product like this. And maybe when it's the heat of summer, you don't want to put down a pound of this stuff in terms of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. You probably want to back that down to maybe like a half a pound per 1,000 square feet. Now, what do I mean about pounds of nitrogen? All right, back to our bag of DCM fertilizer. This is a 10-14-0. 10% of this 35-pound bag is nitrogen. So in this entire bag is 3.5 pounds of nitrogen. So that means I'm gonna need to apply this product at a rate of 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet if I want a half a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet for this type of application. All right, so I know that math can get very complicated, so I'm gonna make it super simple for you and give you a link in the description down below to a calculator that will take the analysis on the bag. You put in the square footage that you have and you tell it how many pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet that you want, and it will spit out that application rate for you. Now let's talk about your preferences, more specifically application preferences, because there are really only two ways to apply these fertilizers. Probably the most common method is using a spreader. Here I have two different types of spreaders. I've got a rotary spreader and a drop spreader, and these are going to be for your granular products like these guys here in these bags. You're going to be using a spreader to apply those products. The other method is going to be spraying. Here we have a backpack sprayer. Some fertilizers come with a hose end sprayer attachment. So something like this is going to be more of an investment. This is a battery powered backpack sprayer. You're probably going to spend on the order of like $150 for something like this. Some of them even go for more money, upwards up to like $300 for a 4-gallon backpack sprayer. Hose end sprayers, they are a little more economical. This one right here is one that comes with the fertilizer. A bottle like this may cost you about $20, $25. Then we have here an actual hose end sprayer. This is definitely one of the more premium style type of hose end sprayers. You can go to Home Depot and buy like an ortho hose end sprayer for like $20. This one right here was significantly more money. So it really comes down to your preference and your budget. And it also comes down to basically the method of application, because if you did do spraying or hose end sprayer, I mean, there is a little bit less wiggle room, let's say, in the amount of fertilizer you're putting down. There's a little more involved with calculating that to make sure you're getting a proper application, as opposed to, say, putting the granular down, which is just more or less weighing it out and spreading that out evenly over your square footage. Now let's talk about soil testing. Soil testing is important and can really help you dial in and optimize your fertilizer program. There are nutrients already available in the soil, and you may not need to be applying certain fertilizers if you don't need it. And when it comes down to buying fertilizer, you're basically paying for those nutrients that are in the bag. So you can certainly save some money by getting a soil test and following what the soil test results are telling you, and only applying the fertilizers that the results are recommending to you. Now, if you are going to get a soil test, I would recommend going with your local university extension. They are going to test it in accordance with what you have in your area. So they're most familiar with the existing soil conditions in your area, in your region, and they are going to give you the best recommendations based on your results. The last thing I want to talk about is overall convenience. And what do I mean by that? Here we have a few products that are pretty much ready to go. I mentioned Simple Lawn Solutions earlier, hose end sprayer type of packaging here, all in one, all inclusive, ready to go. And then there are subscription-based packages like this right here. This is called Gnome. You may have also heard of Sunday. There are others out there. This company, for example, will send you a soil test. They'll ask you for your square footage of your property, and then based on those results, they will send you everything you need for the entire season to take care of your lawn, with instructions on what to apply and when to apply. And those subscription-based services offer that convenience of basically taking all the guesswork out and just sending you what you need, but giving you still that, I guess, DIY ability to take care of your lawn on your own rather than hiring someone else. So there is cost savings to that, and that's another option you may want to explore. And when it comes to fertilizers, there are definitely more things to consider, more things to talk about. We lightly talked about cost. Yes, cost is definitely a consideration. You're basically paying for what's in the bag, and that can go beyond the macronutrients, the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. There are fertilizers that have more micronutrients that do other things at a different price point, more expensive price point. So certainly, yes, that is something to consider. There are other things to consider too, but I wanted to keep this relatively simple for you guys. Try not to overthink it. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for joining.